Guys, this is Wolf from Ajax. What I'm going to do today is show a little bit about how I record, and of course my recordings are not the best, so if you've got a better way to do it, find your own way. Hopefully this is just kind of to get you started from zero knowledge of editing film to passable, and I think we're finally at the stage where mine and Charles' videos are passable. We still have a long ways to go, so let's get started. Let me get the game started first. Well, actually, let's start here. You're gonna see a mirror effect here. So this is OBS, online broadcast something. And what you want to do is you want to have a few different scenes set up. This is for my reporting. If I switch off of here, we're gonna lose this because it's gonna try to focus in on the game Blood Bowl 2. There's no way I can show you how to do that at the same time, but I can show you some of my settings that I have here. This particular one, I'm just capturing this whole screen, this side. I have a dual monitor on the other side too. My microphone input. Now, on my microphone, I've been always use a compressor, just makes your voice sound a little better. You guys could Google, look on YouTube for compressor settings, OBS. Noise suppression. This one's important. This one, when I had first started, I was getting a lot of background, like a sss. I think I might be able to actually show you here. Let me see. Don't know if you'll pick that up in the video or not, but it should start hissing. So I'm gonna turn that back on, and then of course you have to find your own suppression level. How much until you get rid of the hiss before you start to get rid of your voice also, so you don't want to go too far with that. That's the basics of it. And then also I capture the desktop audio, which any sound that comes through the speakers gets captured. That's important if you want to pick up the game sound, and if you're going to have a co-host hosting with you that's going to be on Discord. There's Discord running, and for these videos I really recommend having two-man team coverage. It seems to flow a little better than the one person just sitting there. I know I couldn't do one person just sitting there by myself. The other important thing here, let's see, video, the base resolution size. So my screen output is 1920 by 1080, and my output is the same. That way nothing gets lost, and it doesn't have to compress and convert as you're recording. It doesn't have to make any changes, because sometimes you'll watch somebody's videos, or actually watch somebody's stream, because the stream settings are the same here. You'll watch their stream, and when they roll their dice, the dice almost look like they're hopping on eight pivots. It's just kind of like choppy. So if you get that set the same, no matter what this is, something like if it's on my laptop, it's 1355 and 1355. So make sure that's set the same as your output. Audio, you don't really need to mess with very much. I mean, as long as the audio is working for you. Bitrate, again, I wouldn't mess with. The only thing that I would set is your video out. Let's see, you have to set it for, where is output? Hardware, audio, FLV. Your recording format, set it for FLV. It's kind of a pain, but the reason you do this is the FLV video format is instantaneously reads and writes at the same time. So right now, if my computer crashed, it would stop at this exact point. I could come back to it, and it would be there. But if I'm recording in MP4, if a computer crashes or something freezes, you lose everything unless it can have a save point. So always record in FLV, stream in FLV. I'll show you how to convert that here in a second. So let me quickly take a look. I'm going to move this back off the screen now that you've seen the basic OBS settings. The other thing in OBS, if you're playing around with it, is the microphone audio settings here, and then your desktop audio. There's no desktop audio going right now. I don't have any movies or anything playing, but you want to be, for me, you want the microphone to be just a little bit above the audio level. So like when my co-hosts are speaking, they're hitting right here in the green, whereas I'm just barely tapping past them. So of course you'll have to find these adjustments yourself. What I usually do is I hit start record, have them do a quick, mic check, 1 2 1 2. I do it, they do it, and kind of stop, have them be quiet, go back and listen to your video, and then see how it does. You have to play with that. Let me move this off the screen. Let me take a quick break. I'll come right back. What I'm going to do right now is I'm actually just going to hit stop. So I'm going to hit stop recording, and during videos, when I'm making videos, we stop all the time. If you ever see one of my videos and I go to a commercial, it's usually because I hit stop so we can go to the next segment. Of course, you shoot it your way. If you just want to stop, or if you want to go all the way through, if you could go all 30 minutes, 40 minutes without stopping, more power to you, brother. I know that we can't do it on the way our show is formatted. So I'm going to stop, I'm going to get the game up, and I'll come back with a hard transition. Alright, so here I have the game up, and when you're going to be doing broadcasting, usually you want to go into your settings, turn the sounds down, because if you hear this, you hear that like magical weird sound in the background. It's very distracting. So usually just when I'm playing, I leave it on because I like the sound effects, I like the hits. But when I'm recording, I'll throw that down to 0 effects. So when we're recording, what we would do is I would come in here. I have the game, since I'm doing the actual OBS recording, I need to have the game screen up. But my co-host, Charles, is right there. Charles and I would have a private message going, and we'll start a voice call. He'll call in, and then once we're talking to each other, he can have web pages up on his computer that he's doing. And I think I should have that right here, yeah. There are 2 sites that we use right now. This is Nuffoletics and Rebbl Division 10D is what we're covering right now. I think we're in week 10 or 11, perhaps. And same thing here. We're going to 10D. Maybe. Did I just miss it? 9. There we go. So 10D. And we'll be in week 12, I think. Back here on Rebbl, or on Nuffoletics. So Charles would have these websites up, and he'll have his own notes, his show notes, to talk about. But here you can see who's in position 1, even though some teams may not, on the Blood Bowl screen, it may show a different order here. What's important about Nuffoletics is that it shows you who's got the most wins along with the most points here. Then, as you start looking through your game recap, if you're going through a game recap, Charles will have way more detail than I will, and he'll give me information, whereas I can be looking on this screen. Let me get to here. So I'm in a league. That's my team. Now I'm in, let's see. Oh, I'm not in that competition. I am in this league. Then I have to find Division 10D. So let's take a look. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10D. There we go. 10D. And usually when I start my show, I usually start on the screen. Of course, your show may be different. And we will start for this. Our show format, we've kind of penciled it out how we wanted it. We talked about we wanted to have kind of a boxing fighting format and make it for Friday nights. I thought that was going to be something different. I like the fighting aspect of the game. And so then we came up with our different things. You have to watch one of our videos to see the format we use. And then also, we just basically copied our ideas from the Punchmans report, the way they set up their format. They just call it different things than we do, but I figure if you're going to imitate somebody, imitate who you think the best is. So that's what we did there. Let me take a look here. I keep going. Stop doing that. So, on Wednesday, these matches will be set. Let's see, I gotta go back here. These matches will have been set and completed. Now, you'll get a question mark if somebody hasn't completed their match yet. Charles, while he'll be looking at this page for First and Forsaken Lions on him, then I can come in here and I can pull this up while I'm recording, but he's talking. So I can look here, and if he starts giving me details about, because he watches most of our games, I only get to watch 3 or 4 games a week. He'll watch it. He'll start throwing out statistics while I'm looking over here, and I can I can see easy things: ball possession, skill points, dice rolls. That's the basics of just covering the game and capturing the video footage that you want. Again, like I said, go back and watch the Punchmans report at least at one time and kind of see how they do it. And then for the next week, you would look here. The only bad thing about the next week is you can't click on. See if you see I'm clicking here. You can't click on here and get the matchup. So that's the only downfall. You would have to kind of look at, come back to team, plague. Let's see. Then you got to make sure you're on the right page, and then you got to go. Okay, this team has. What's the team look like? But this is where the other tool that Charles has is he can come to Rebbl.net and look up the next week, click on this, and see instantly, oh, this team has 1350 to 1320, 40,000, and so he's got a little more detail here. And then he can also just obviously easily open up new tabs to get an idea. Is this team hurt? Oh, they're missing somebody here. Whereas I can't look at that quickly on the video game interface unless I drop into the team out of the schedule. So having a two-man system here really works well, that you can both tag team parts of the game that's missing. And hang on, let me take a quick break and I'll come back and we'll take a look at the next aspect, assuming that you've hit stop record. I'm gonna hit stop record here so we can start looking at other tools. But this is all you do is, like, if you're talking and I screw up and say abysmal crushers or something and I want to cut, I just say Charles cut and I hit the stop button. Or if he's giving a stat and he gives the wrong stat, he'll say, oh, cut, wait. We cut it, we stop, and then later in production we put it back together. And usually if I cut it correctly, you don't even notice it. Let me stop real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, so I've captured my first few videos here at 4:41 p.m. And obviously I can play them with, this is VLC video player, but I don't even know if Windows Media will play this, but VLC is pretty well known. It's free. I'll try to put all these links in the description notes below. Alright, so I've captured my first few videos here at 4:41 p.m. And see, it's capturing live right now as we speak. That's kind of the benefit of FLV. I don't think you could do that with MP4. I'd have to take a look again. I'm going to stop that. So let's see. I don't want that one because this is one I'm currently recording, so I want one of these. So now the problem is FLV format is kind of a newer format, and the tools I use, if I use Sony Vegas, let's see if I have it somewhere in here. Yeah, if I use Sony Vegas, it'll pull this FLV in and convert it, and you still have to wait. So it's kind of a pain. What I like to do is use Handbrake. Let me see, Handbrake. Handbrake is kind of a standard in video converting. You're going to transcode it into something else, something that we can work with. So in this case, I'm just going to do one of these files. We don't need to do the whole thing. Actually, I will do the whole thing, so I'm going to have to do it eventually anyway. And then I'll just pause this video, I'll come back. But here's what you do. You put your files over here. Oh, it's only going to take one. Dang it. Let me see. I have to make a few changes, but the basics of Handbrake, you probably don't have to do much. You just have to give it an output folder where you want it to go, the file you want to bring in. And then what I didn't do is, usually you'll see here I have two divisions now. We're covering 10A and 10D. So I'll just take and I'll import the whole folder, because there will be several videos in here. Well, these have already been, all these 6 have not. These ones have been converted. And then I'll hit the start encode. And on a folder, you can add all of your videos to the queue and then start the queue. Now for this conversion, the easiest thing to do is you can just hit legacy high profile. That's kind of an old standard that everybody used. So far for me, I found that using fast 1080p at 30 frames, this one seems to work. It's got the best. It still keeps your video huge, because remember I said I'm recording at like 1920, I said. So I'm still keeping it at 1080p, which is more than enough for uploading to YouTube or to Twitch. So I'll record this, I'll pause the video, I'll come back, and we'll go to the next section. Okay, so as I said earlier, I've taken my FLV files, I've used Handbrake to encode them back to MP4. Now, there are command line tools that will do this for you. If you know command line and you want to use it because it's much faster, it doesn't. Then it's lossless, so you don't lose any of the encoding. But here, the difference is negligible for me, and I like using the UI instead. But yeah, if you're interested in that, there's a YouTube search you can do for that. Convert FLV to MP4 lossless. It'll do it for you. I use Handbrake. So next thing we want to do is, now that we have our videos that we just recorded, these are ones Charles and I recorded. We turned them into MP4s. Movie Maker. So Windows Movie Maker is a free application. It came with older versions of Windows. They stopped including it because I guess they couldn't make any money off it, would be my guess. You can buy your own video editing software, but for free. I don't think you're going to beat this as long as you have Windows. I'm going to include the download link to it. I don't want to restore my last project. I'll include the download link so you can kind of get an idea of when you inside. It was installed in a Microsoft Essentials pack, which had like 7 pieces of software, like email clients and picture, photograph, and this Movie Maker. And I only install the Movie Maker part of it. And the reason I do that is because I can use it at work then, because it's free. It's a Microsoft product, and at work they don't scan for my anything Microsoft they let me use, and I wouldn't have to pay for Sony Vegas, but I have it at home, Sony Vegas at home, just in case I want to do something fancy, which I usually don't. So I'll record. I've got my videos. Let me see if I can pull these up. I want to have to split these screens for you so you guys can see everything. Here we go. So if you try to drag an FLV, it may show up, but you won't get it. Will never work right. So in this case, I'm going to take my MP4s, maybe, and I'm going to drag them over, add these videos to Movie Maker. Now, Movie Maker will slowly build. If you look down here, it's preparing your files, file 1. It has to scan the video, detect your audio, import your audio, and then you can work with it. So just let it finish. I'll pause it. I'll come back when it's finished. Okay, so we've got file 6 of 6. It's almost ready to finish. I think this is the last one. You can see the little time thing around it. The rest of these are imported. Let's take a look here and see what we can listen to. So this would be obviously from OBS. I've recorded my game, and I have Charles on Discord on a telephone call. And if you're ever in a call with somebody, if you right-click on their name when there's a call in the middle here, you can adjust their levels if you need them up or down. Let's take a look here. So let's take a listen. Hey everybody, welcome to Friday Night Fights. I am Wolf from Ajax. Some of you in this division 10A were... Alright, so that is the intro, I know for sure. Now, because we record our segments pretty much in order, I kind of know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments, so I know that this was actually a good recording. Sometimes if we have 8 or 9 segments, it's usually because I had to cut and bring it in. So if I just open the show like that, you guys would think, oh, that's kind of lame. And it is kind of lame. So what I do is, let's see, I got a folder over here I've got to grab. Perhaps, perhaps not. Perhaps this folder. Let's see. I'm trying to get it over so you guys can see it. It's on E drive. Let's see, E. So I keep a folder here called Rebbl. And in this folder, I will have commercial pictures. For what I like to do is when I cut over on segments, I use commercials. Obviously, you guys could do whatever you want. So I have, these are what I use for commercials. This is what I use for, it's hard to do this with split screen like this. That doesn't need to be large, small, maybe. Friday Night Fights, I should have, there's a JPEG, there's my logo. So what I'll do is I'm going to drag this across the screen. I'm going to try to drag this. Friday Night Fights. As you can see, here's my logo for our show opening. What I do is I drag it to where I want it. Do I want it in between this segment, that segment? Do I want it at the end? Obviously, in this case, I want it at the beginning. It will add it as a 7-second picture. Let's make sure, 7-second duration. Now that I've got picture, if I hit the space button or play, I'll just hit space. The show will open with this credit, or with this image, and it will do a harsh transition. Boom. Hey everybody, welcome into my nasally voice. So, we don't like that either. Well, at least I don't like that. So, the segment I want to transition into, from start to this transition, I want to make that a little smoother. So, what I will do is I'll come in here to Video Effects, Animations. Let me see. I do not, since I can't see full screen here, it's kind of tricky. Transitions. If you select this transition, obviously it's going to flip. Where are the rest of my visuals? That's a regular visual. None, dissolve, schematic, cinematic. Oh, here we go. There we go. There's all kinds of transitions. So if you hover over it once, see how it kind of zooms out. I think a good one to open, obviously open your show, find what you like best. Let's take a look. This one, pan. I always like to do this one between my transitions. I don't know why. That's just me. So now my video will look like this at the start. When somebody hits play, it'll flip them into it. And then in a second here, I'm going to add music. But here's a harsh transition again. Hey! To that segment, it just like snaps. So in this case, between this transition, I usually do the flippy thing. What's it called? I know it's not called the flippy thing. This one here. This is the
hey,
it is
everybody.
called flip. Hey, I knew that. So I will flip from that, and you see this little slash mark. It means it's added this to this one. It's added one to here. So obviously we'll transition.
Hey everybody,
to the show.
Welcome.
Makes it a little more entertaining. Now here's the best part. Well, not the best part, but the part you want to work on. Obviously, one of the things you want to work on is you want to get your images that you're going to use for your show. But that's I mean, you can go search for any images you want. Just pull it in as a JPEG, PNG. I recommend PNG just because they're a larger format. They can hold a lot more data. They look a lot more crisp than JPEG. And you can have, on a PNG file, you can have a transparent background. And while it's not important now, maybe later it will be. So I've got my intro, I've got my screen to come into the show, and what I need to do is grab some music. So I'm going to provide you with links. I went to YouTube and they have all kinds of free audio sounds you can use to add to a video. Now in this case, I just went through, found music that I liked. Once I found the music I like this is an artist I thought had a lot of the stuff that I like. At that point, I just renamed, this is actually called Lock and Key. You can probably find it anywhere on YouTube in their free music section. Again, I'll have the links to that later. But in this case, I named it my intro, and then the song I wanted for my outro, I also named that. So every time I know that every time my show is going, I'm going to use this as my intro. That just kind of creates a branding almost. So when somebody hears that, sees your logo, they know, oh, this is the show. I mean, if your favorite TV show had a different intro every time, it'd be a little confusing. So same thing, I'm going to drag this from my other screen over here. So here's my intro music, and obviously I wouldn't drop it at the end, that would be silly, so I'm going to drop it at the very beginning. Now when you do this, you now get this tab up here called Music Tools and Video Tools. So if you want to work with the video part of it, this upper deck here, you're on the yellow. If you want to work on the music, even if you're in the same area, you're going to be splitting. Here it says split, because you would want to split the music. One thing I had to learn the hard way is when you drop music in here, Microsoft has decided that you want to emphasize narration. This will mess you up because you have 2 tracks now. So I just always put no emphasis. This way I can determine what's supposed to be loud, what's supposed to be quiet. So what we'll do now is we'll take a listen. Let me pause it, grab something to drink. That'll give you guys kind of a place to pause, because I can't imagine anybody listening for this long. So give me just a second. All right, I am back. So I've dropped my music in. I've set this to no emphasis, so that way the video is not louder and the music is not louder. They're just dropped in at a standard level, which is right at 50% on both of these. Now, if I hit play, it's going to be really loud. So let's hold your ears or turn your volume down a little. Here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to Friday Night Fights. Now, one of the things I like, and so I've kind of copied, is that I like to have music at the lowest level playing underneath the show. It's almost like what they would do on professional TV shows that talk about sports, analyze sports. If you listen, a lot of times the better shows will have a subtle bit of music underneath when they have these kind of long segments that we're doing. So I've kind of copied that, and look, you can tell that it's way too loud. Let's just take a listen here. I am Wolf from Ajax. So you can barely hear me. In this division 10. So what we're gonna do is, if you look at this video here, these waves are when the video says there's sound. Like obviously in this picture, there's no sound attached to this picture. So what I need to do is, this button down here is I need to zoom in, and it will take me into this video a little closer, and it looks like it's dropping down, but it's really just zooming up here. This will start to kind of, these segments will fade away because we're zooming in. So we zoom in. Usually it will zoom where your cursor is. This is the cursor point. And now you can really get a closer look at, see, I kind of thought I was on it, but it almost looks like I missed. So this right here is where my voice will start, or if I like hiccup or if I go something like that, it'll pick that up at the beginning. Or sometimes what it will do is, if Charles and I are talking, I gotta quit saying I'll count us down to recording. I'll say, Charles, we're gonna go in 3, 2, 1, go, and I hit the button to start recording. Now sometimes I'll pick up my 3, 2, 1, go, in which case I would cut that out of here, and I'll show you how to cut these videos later. But what I'll do is, I want the music to start playing right around here. I want it to drop. So this is where I want to drop the music. I come over to the music tools and I split it. That makes two sounds, this side and this side. Now this side, I still think it's too loud. I don't like how loud that is. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm on this section of music here, and it's trimmed, you can see where it says right there, trimmed to 6 seconds. I'm going to go to music, and this slider, if I leave it all the way here and hit the enter button, you won't hear anything, because it's giving you 0 sound, even though the sound is there. Now, I've found, for me, I like to set it to 0, and then on my keyboard with my arrow keys, if I hit the right arrow key like 5 times is what I do for my commercials and for my intro. So I'll just go, see if you can hear. 5 times, that moves it just enough. Hit enter, and let's take a listen. Okay. Hey, everybody. Now you can see it jumped way louder over there. So what I want to do is, I want to have the show just start with the music I said 5, and I'm going to want the music to drop down here to the lowest level it can go. And if I do that, if I just set this to 0, let's see, music volume all the way there, the lowest it can go is 1 tap of your right key. Here, there. 1, and then hit enter. Hey everybody, welcome to Friday Night Fights. Okay, so that's much better. Ajax. Well, to me anyway. So you can hear Charles, you can hear me. Let me take a little, turn this up a little. I understand that you guys had somebody who was doing your coverage drop out. So okay, so the only problem now is you're going to get a weird drop in audio. It's going to go from level 5 to level 1. Hey everybody. That's kind of weird. So what you do is you click on this music, and here you have the music fade out. It will fade from, this is one of the problems with using Movie Maker, is that there's no fade to 1. You have to fade to 0 or fade to black. So you'll have 100% audio, and then right around here it'll start going, 50%, 20%, 10, and it'll fade to 0. But here you have 1. There's a slight hiccup that you'll catch just at this spot. It's not enough to throw the show off, but like if you were using Sony Vegas, you could actually adjust these to fade to 1 instead of fade to 0. So let's fade it out to 0, and let's take a listen here and see how it goes.
Hey everybody, welcome.
Did you hear that kind of hiccup? That you can barely catch it, but I just don't think it's noticeable, so I just leave it, let it go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Friday Night Fights.
All right, so
I am Wolf from Agent.
now you've got your talking, you've got your music in the background,
tonight,
and let's zoom out a little here, and we can see this will be my first segment. My second segment will start right here. Now, a lot of times when I'm trying to get to the next segment, I'll just say something like, we'll go to a commercial break, we'll come right back. Obviously, nobody's paying for commercial breaks in this, but I wanted to do something different with my show. You can go hard transition if you want, whatever you like to do. So let's take a listen and see what I actually said here.
Come right back after this commercial.
Okay, so I said commercial.
Hey.
So in this case, what I do is, and please come up with something creative, fun, and original. Let's see, I've got this here. I'm going to put a commercial break in here. Again, anytime you drop in a logo, that logo stinks. So if you ever put something in and you don't like it, then just hit Control Z or the undo button up here. I like Control Z, so Control Z, it'll put it back. The reason I did Control Z there is because I put that picture in for 7 seconds. It pushes all the video back, and sometimes if you just start cutting stuff out from here, your music down here will get screwed up, or your music up here, if you insert stuff, will get screwed up. So you kind of want to work in order as you're going. One other important thing, let me save real quick. So I want to save that. I will save it in the folder that I'm working on. Let me see. So in this case, I'm working off the E drive in my Rebbl folder, and it should be in, let's see, edits, I think. Yeah, it's saving it right here. Now, if this is a USB drive, what's kind of nice is that you can take it home, then work on it, bring it back to your laptop, wherever you're working on it, you can keep working. And if for some reason you have a copy on 2 different machines, it won't find like your images are somewhere else. If you just tell it, like, find the first image on a different folder, it'll find them all for you. We can go over that later. That's kind of advanced. This is just trying to get started. You're probably going to do this on one machine, not multiple machines. So I've got that. Where were we at here? Let me see. We saved it, and we were going to insert a commercial. I just gave you guys a Control Z to get out of that. So commercial. I'm going to try a different one here. Let's try that. Okay, so Bloodweiser. Now, when I go to commercial, obviously I don't want the music the same. So here, I guess you can leave the music all the same you want if you do the whole thing, or you can have no music, I guess. But I like to give it a little pop. So I split the music right there. I right-click on it and I remove that music. So now I can insert some kind of wacky little commercial music. Let's take a look here. I have a folder. Obviously, there's my folder for music. I'm going to drag this back over now. Some of the pieces of music that I use here are different, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit on, I have to do this way. I'm going to right-click and copy this music, and then wherever my cursor is where it's going to paste it. Now, you'll notice I clicked up here because I didn't, if I'm afraid sometimes if I click here, it'll move this off a little. I don't want to move that cut spot, so I just come up here. And now I can Control V to paste it, and that music goes in here. But remember, when we put music in, it cranks the volume for you. So again, I move it all the way down, then I hit 5 spaces on my right arrow key. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hit enter. And then it'll be a little louder than this music, because this music we had it set to 1, so we could hear everybody talking. This will go a little louder. You could actually, if you wanted to have it fade in, you could. I usually don't for commercials because I warn everybody, oh, we're going to a commercial break. but I do want it to fade back out. So I'm going to set that to slow, and then over here I can drag this around if I'm holding down my mouse now. I'm going to come over and look at where my video picks up and see where I want to cut that music back off.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks to our sponsor.
So kind of right around here. This one doesn't have to be perfect because like a lot of times on Sports Center or shows like that, the host will be talking and the music will still be transitioning to whatever their regular theme of their show is. So I've moved to kind of where I want to cut it. I'm going to highlight the green here and I'm going to split that again. Then I remove the rest of that commercial music. Now I'm going to grab my other, let's see, my intro, and this is the music that I usually play. Now once you get a full length, because earlier I cut this and chopped it up a little, so here I'm going to right click, I'm going to click on here and I'm going to Control V to paste it in where I want it. But remember, it comes in hot, as I like to say. So I'm going to move this down, 1, enter. And the other thing that I talked about earlier was transitions, how this one flipped over to this one. So here I'm going to click on the video and I will do a quick animation. A lot of times when I come from commercials, I go into stars, just because we have stars on this screen here. But obviously you'll do it any way you want. Let's take, so got that, and actually my commercial here, I also want this to do a transition. Play around with any of these. If you find one that works for you, more power to you. So let's take a look at this commercial from the end of me throwing it to the commercial, back to the show. So let's hear.
And for us, the scorecard is what happened to you guys last week. Come right back after this commercial. Hey, welcome back. Thanks to our sponsors. We are back. We're going to take a look here at our scorecard. Up first, looks like we have Sugar and Spike.
All right, so there you heard the music is under. We flipped to commercial. Music gets louder to get your attention like a real commercial would. And then after the commercial, it kind of fades back in. The song fades out, and then because it fades out to 0, this one picks up at 1. You can barely even notice that.
Thanks to our sponsors. We are back. We're going to take a look here at our scorecard. Up.
Okay, so now we've got a long section of video that I know is good. Charles and I recorded this, and I didn't cut or stop the video or anything, so I know this is a good piece of video. I don't have to go through it. If something did happen, I would mark that down. Knowing it's a good video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this music that is a full-length piece that I put in there. I haven't cut it at all, and I've set the volume to 1. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to move my cutting tool where I want, right about the end there, and then Control V, paste it in there, and now I've got music for that entire section. And same thing, Control V, Control V. You can overlap a little or underlap a little. Now this one's weird because I'm coming up right to the end, so if I paste it in there, I'm only going to use a few seconds of it. What I'll do is I'll take a listen real quick and see where in the video I am.
Quick commercial break. We'll come back and we'll take a look at what we call our pound for pound rankings, which is the.
So let's just say I didn't want to say is the leaderboard. I can zoom in here. I see it stayed where my cutting tool is. So let's take a look here. This whole section. Whoa, stop jumping around on me.
We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and we'll take a look at what we call our pound for pound rankings, which is the.
Okay, so let's just say I didn't want this section here. God damn it. I've identified where it is. Let me see if I can get a little closer in on it. This is the only bad part of this tool, is that when you jump around, it does jump around. So I want to get rid of this part, I believe.
We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and we'll take a look at what we call our pound for pound rankings, which is.
Let's see if I can actually, since I'm here and we're struggling through this, see as I zoom in, it can get really down to every word. Let's see where this word is. Stop doing that. Yeah, if anybody plays around with this, after a while you realize, oh, I don't want to make this many cuts. Because now I'm kind of messed up where I am. Gotta come all the way down to where there's no music. I know that for sure. Okay, there. Ooh, zoom there. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I want to get rid of is the leaderboard. I think right here. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get rid of is leader. It wasn't a bad thing, but maybe it was like, what in the hell? Did somebody hit the space bar thing? See, I probably should cut this out, but I should let you guys see me struggle just like you're going to struggle when you start messing with it. Okay, so. Let's see where.
We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and we'll take a look at what we call our pound for pound rankings, which is the.
I'll get rid of it from here. So, come up here. I'm on video tools. I'm on edit, and I'm going to split that. Ka-chow, just like I did with music. Now, this section here becomes just a regular section, but since I said I didn't need this section, I was going to get rid of it. I'll remove it. Now, if I'd had music over here, it would have moved all this music around, so be careful when you do that. Always work forward. So, let me take a listen here.
We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and we'll take a look at what we call our pound for pound rankings, which.
So I should probably not. I should probably split that too. Let's take a look here. And remember, you can always Control Z if you don't like what you've got going there.
Pound ranking.
I kind of screwed that one up, so I'm going to Control Z. And Control Z. And I got to zoom out a little. This is driving me crazy. Too far zoomed. Ooh. All right.
Pound rankings, which.
I'd like to get rid of that which. I'm going to split that. Remove.
All our pound for pound rankings.
Okay. That was very rough. I didn't like that at all. But later, when you say cut, you'll get a break because somebody will be like, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. All right, so same thing. We're going to drop a commercial break in here and some music. I'll do this one more time, and then I think you'll have the basics covered. So let me take a look here. I like nickels. Nickeling. All right, and where is my music? It's hard to do this with one screen. And obviously, if you're working on two screens and you're not recording, this will be much better for you. Music, ponies and balloons is kind of funny. Again, copy it, paste it. So let's start. We could probably paste it back a little. I don't think that'll hurt anything if we're going into a commercial. You are driving me crazy, mouse. So that's where I want it. I'm just going to kind of highlight up here and Control V. So it's going to jack all of this to there. So I'm on green. You see green music tools here. Split that. Remove that. I don't want to fade it in, but I do want to fade it out because what I'm going to do here is after the song, the show comes back, I can take one of these ones that I've already edited and just paste it in here. Paste. And if this is set to fade out, let's check our levels here. See, that was going to blast somebody, so make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, if you find that on your settings, maybe 10 spaces, but trying to slide it around the music levels, you're never going to get it the same every time. This way, if you kind of use the left and right keys, you know, 5 up, 5 down, 10 up, 10 down, whatever you do. And then hit enter. So let's take a look at that. Oh, let's transition this one too. So animation, just for giggles, let's try one of these different ones. See if you kind of hold it over here.
All our pound for pound rankings.
So let's try that one, and then let's bring it back in with something like that. Okay, let's go.
Break. We'll come back and we'll take a look at what we call our pound for pound rankings. And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. We're going to take a look at
and then
our pound
the
for
music
pound
starts
rankings.
back up. So that is everything that you need to do. I'm trying to think of what else would help you. The only other thing is, let's see, let me drop out here. let's just say this is the end of the show. Usually, of course, I would put all these segments back to make sure I have transitions, make sure I have commercials. You do the show your way, and let me see. I should have, let me see, where is, sometimes in between segments, I've started using my, I don't want to drop it there, but that's a Photoshop, scorecard. So if we're in the scorecard section, then I transition into a scorecard with a commercial, or sometimes without it. Let me Control Z that. Where'd my folder go? Friday Night Fights logo. Where's, oh, this is what I do for the ending. Obviously, you guys want to come up with your own funny ending. Then I like to have some ending music for that one. Let me grab something here. Obviously, I'm going to keep copying this audio, and it's going to go throughout the whole video, just so that way there's an underlying music people can listen to. And you can take a look at the entire clip of the show after I've completely edited it. But you'll just keep going through. I haven't found a way to like track the whole thing and then come back and take out the parts I want, which Sony Vegas does. If you get that, it's like at Best Buy. It's $25 to $50 depending on if you find it on sale. Let me grabs my outro here. Did I say grabs my outro here? Okay. Music. I have an outro that I like to play. Where did my outro go? Oop. Cancel. Cancel. Control Z. Ah, god damn it, it's on this. Let's take a look here. Control Z. Step back. If Control Z doesn't work, step back. There we go. Okay, so I can step forward for that song, but the reason it pasted it here is because my slicing tool was not there. So I need to grab my slicing tool, copy this, Control V, and it pastes it right there where I want it. Alright, so let's take a look here at different effects we can use. And of course you don't have to use any, so I'm going to flip on its way out. Let's see. Maybe you want it to warp on its way out. Of course, this is just stuff you'll have to play around with. I think there's a fade to black one that's pretty good. Fade out to black. Okay. Well, is that one? There, it fades out. Okay. That's the basics. That gets you going. Let me quickly save my work here. Now, once you have, I'm going to maximize this real quick. Obviously, it's easier to work with larger, smaller screen areas and on dual screens. So, once you've got your movie, you saved it, then it's time to create the movie, and it's as simple as this: save movie for high definition display. That's what I recommend because it's going to save it in 1080. You've recorded everything, and you're not going to get much better resolution than that. You could play around with some of these settings, but these settings are so old. I mean, Zune, I don't know. I don't think anybody has one of those anymore. So I'm going to save for high definition display. Oh, I'm going to save it into my completed edits folder. And this process is going to take a while because it's converting all of your images, everything, compressing it, and going to give you one MP4 outload that you'll upload to YouTube or Twitch. So let me pause the video. Once it's done, or when it's close, I'll come back. Okay, I just came back. The video has processed, and you'll get this pop-up here. You can either play it or you can open the folder. Now, I'll go ahead and open the folder, and I'll play it with VLC Media Player. Hey everybody, welcome to Friday Night Fights. I am Wolf from Ajax. Look at that transition.
Fights.
Let's
See if we can go a little.
Not a bad out.
scary already.
Hijinks. I look okay. These picked up a lot. I think I've only played with Inflicted. Are the leader
Colors, upload the
3?
kill.
You're not.
Is behaving bad, but she's already great match and I had to
Of
play
course, here's where
to recover that.
I didn't add the audio insert track, and if you like it better that way, knock yourself out.
First season, that's why I got some.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
All right.
good luck, everyone.
Good luck, guys. See you later.
So you have your file here, 1.5 gigabytes big. It's pretty big. I mean, not as big as my week 8 one here. So then what you can do, I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and save that later and come back and mess around with it. But I've already recorded this week, so it doesn't really matter to me here. Let me close this. If I wanted to, I could come back and run it through Handbrake again now that it's completed. I don't think I will. In this case, what I usually do is once I get a file, I just upload this to Twitch, or you can upload it to YouTube, whatever your selected choice is. For me, I like Twitch better just because every 2 weeks they delete your videos in order. So I don't think anybody 2 weeks later comes back and says, "Oh, I wish I could see week 4 of Division 10." I don't know. Maybe they do, but I think that way it's just they auto clean it up for you. You get some traffic that way, and I don't really like YouTube anyway. So let's see. Yeah, you could run it through here again. Let's see if it pops up how big it is, and then just I would probably just run it as a fast 1080p. You could probably do very fast if you wanted to get it really small. Let's see, but I would probably just stick with fast because you don't need surround sound for these videos. There is no surround sound. That would be it. Then upload it and you're on your way. I can't think of anything else. I'm going to include all the links to the tools I use, where I get them. Small things like images that I use, you're going to have to get your own. I have some Photoshop skills. You don't actually have to use Photoshop. You could probably just use Paint. You can just find the images you want. You don't even need that. I'll also include links to YouTube's free music library. The reason I use the free library is because if YouTube picks up one of your songs, like if you go get a commercial song, they'll strip the audio out, and they'll strip all the audio out. So anything you're talking about will get stripped out until that song stops playing. I think Twitch does the same thing. So if you plan on saving these for a long time on you, I'm not worried about it on Twitch because it's only up for 2 weeks. I don't think anybody will snag it from there, but if they do, just be aware that that's probably why they edited your sound out, and then switch over to YouTube's royalty-free music. I think that about wraps it up. I'm gonna jump out of here. I'm gonna actually go edit this video right now so I can upload it to you guys. And this one I'll probably upload to YouTube so it can hang around a while. See you guys. Check out our show if you're in our division. If you're not in our division, feel free to check out the show. I wonder how many people actually do watch the show that aren't in the division. That would be weird. Alright, we'll see you guys later. Bye.